Hello everyone, welcome to our meeting today. I'm Helen Seddon and I'm very proud to be the head teacher of Our Ladies Catholic College, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to the Our Ladies School community and the family of Our Ladies. I know also that although the meeting is for parents, there will probably be a number of students out there who are getting ready to start school in September for the first time. So you are very welcome too. I'm very excited about you starting in September, and there are wonderful times ahead of you. This meeting is to try and alleviate any worries that you have for September. This is obviously a very, very strange time to be changing from primary school to secondary school, and I'm really sorry that you haven't had the opportunity to come into school and look round and meet us face to face. However, we're hoping that this meeting will help you, and I want to go through some of the purposes of the meeting with you. I'm going to have to share a PowerPoint, so I'm going to disappear, which is probably a good thing, and then there'll be a few PowerPoint slides. So, you're very welcome. The aims of the meeting today are to introduce some of the key school staff, to have your questions answered, because we haven't had the opportunity to have you into school and have that meeting, to show you how you can best support your child in their secondary education. Really important part of their education now starting. You may feel that they're getting quite grown up and they don't need your help and support in the same way, but they really, really do. They need you to take an interest. And also to share our expectations with you. They will start Our Ladies as children, and by the time they leave, they will be young adults, or some of them legally adults. And that is a huge and important time in their lives. So we need to help them develop their character. We use the quote from St. Oscar Romero, aspire not to have more, but to be more. And we talk about how at the end of the day, it's not what you own or possess, it's about the person that you are. So we encourage our young people to be the best that they can possibly be, so they can go out and make the world a better place. But in doing that, they will have to develop some self-discipline, and they will have to take some responsibility for their own actions. And so also today we want to share our expectations with you, so that you know what you can expect from us, and what we need from you too as families. What do you want your child to be? Your child might already have ideas about what they want to be in the future and the career that they have in mind, and we will help them to discover that if they don't already know, and hopefully prepare themselves, and we will help them in that and getting great academic results so they can go off and do whatever they want to do in the future. But the really important question is, who do you want your child to be? And I think if I asked you all of that individually, you'd probably say you wanted them to be happy, kind and caring adults by the time they left school. As a Catholic school, I want to assure you that we will focus on those qualities as well as their academic success. Now, some pictures on this screen. The one of the stained glass window is actually from France, and that is Isaac and Abraham. But it actually doesn't matter who those people are. It's the hands in that picture that I want you to focus on. And the first hand I want you to focus on is that hand that's pushing the boy a little bit. We are going to have to push your child out of their comfort zone, because that's where they learn, that's where they experience new things, and that's what helps them develop into confident young adults. And you need to do that at home as well, pushing them a little bit, not too much, but pushing them just a little bit out of their comfort zone. But the second hand is really, really important too, and that's the one the little boy is clinging on to, that hand. Your children in school will be confident that they know that there is somebody there for them at all times. Our teachers have amazing relationships with our young people, so do all of our support staff, and they will know there's always someone there for them, just in the way that they know at home that there's someone there for them when they are finding things difficult. I want to assure you that we will do all we can in the next 5 years or 7 years and work with you to enable them to leave school as happy, caring and successful young adults. The relationship between home and school is really important, and you need to believe that we are doing the right thing and trust that we are doing the right thing, because I understand it is a challenging thing to send your child off to secondary school for the first time, especially when you haven't had the opportunity to spend much time in that school. So that's my bit finished. Thank you very much for joining us today. There are now going to be a series of different videos from different members of staff who hopefully will answer the questions that you have. I do hope you find it useful. You can still ask questions after that, and please feel free to get in touch with us. And we will see you in September. Thank you. Goodbye.
Hi everyone, my name is Des Coyle. I'm Deputy Head at Our Lady's Catholic College. One of my main responsibilities is monitoring the achievement and progress of all year groups from Year 7 through to Year 13. I work with progress leaders, pastoral support officers and subject leaders to make sure that your child performs as well as they can do and meets or exceeds their potential from Year 7 through to GCSE or A-level. Here at Our Ladies, we have a great track record in ensuring all students perform well at external exams after 5 or 7 years in the school. We consistently feature highly in progress tables. In this slide, you can see how well our Year 11 did in 2018, achieving over half a grade better than expected in their Progress 8 score. Based on the current performance tables, we have the second best performing sixth form in Lancashire. The top performing school in Lancashire is actually an independent school, so this makes us the best non-fee paying sixth form in the county. To do this, we start by building on the successful work of their primary schools, by considering their current performance in Year 6. This year, as we know so well, is different with lockdown preventing Year 6 SATs again. Because of this, we will be using teacher assessment from primary schools as one part of their target setting for GCSE. We will also be doing some benchmarking assessments of our own in English and Maths, so our teachers can get a real feel for your child's skills in each of these subjects. We will also be doing some computer-based tests which do not require revision and most importantly do not need to be worried about. These are the CAT tests, which measure a range of skills including verbal and spatial reasoning, and also the NGRT test, which measures reading skills against the national average. We use this to identify where intervention may be needed and then to monitor impact and progress made. By combining all these, we will ensure that we have the fullest picture of your child's future academic potential at Our Ladies. We will then be able to project their start of Year 7 performance onto Year 11 to give us an estimated target grade for their GCSE courses. From here, we can then determine accurate interim points and use reliable assessments to monitor and track their performance along the way. In this slide, you can see examples of how students of varying ability start from the blue column on the left and given expected progress would typically be achieving the levels in the red column on the right by the end of Year 11. Please remember that these are approximate flight paths and that your child's estimated target grade is not a limiting factor. Every year, students overachieve on their target grades at Our Ladies. We will report monitoring information to you 3 times over the course of each year, together with one progress evening with their form tutor early in the first term, so you can see how your child is getting to grips with high school, and then a further full parents evening later in the year, where you can speak to all of their class teachers. Here you can see an example of one of our Year 7 monitoring reports, where you can see the students' end of Year 11 target and how the students are performing towards meeting that target. I hope this gives you a flavour of assessments at Our Ladies. Should you require more information, please contact me in school and I'll be happy to discuss anything further with you. Thanks and look forward to seeing you in September.
For teaching and learning. I often say that teaching and learning involves a lot of different aspects of our school life. And what your child will experience when they come to our school. But just to break it down, some of the things that I do think are important in regard to your child developing and doing the best that they can when they're with us at Our Ladies, or some of these aspects of teaching and learning. The first one is reading. I really encourage parents to actively read with their children and encourage their children to read. Reading is a really powerful gateway into learning. And the more that the child is exposed to literature and a variety of different types of literature, both fiction and non-fiction, the more quick they are to access and decode the curriculum that's in front of them. Revision is another one that's really central to making progress and being able to retain that information that they learn within school. The old-fashioned idea of revision is that you make lots of notes and you just keep making these notes. But today what we look at in school in regards to revision is how your son or daughter's memory actually works, how we activate learning and make sure we embed it in long-term memory. so that they can use that to remove obstacles of learning basically in the classroom. And the idea of research as well, making your child more independent so that outside the classroom they're able to navigate their own learning as well and become more resilient and become metacognitive, as we call it, which is self-reflective in their learning as well. I mentioned reading. I really strongly believe that reading will make a massive difference to your son or daughter's progress in school in regards to allowing them to enter the subject and access the subject, and as I said, decode, try and figure out what some of the subject matter is in front of them. All their exams will be written in what we call elaborate code, which means that it's full sentence explanatory language. So in order for them to access that when they get to Key Stage 4, and also the whole way through their academic career, in order to access what's going on in the classroom, their ability to read fluently and comprehend what is going on in the lesson is really important. And as you can see from this poster, what they're recommending is that if a child reads 20 minutes per day, they're exposed to 1.8 million words more than they would be if they weren't reading at all. Now, why I mention reading, it links to their actual vocabulary acquisition, and most children when they come to us will have a vocabulary gap. It's natural that obviously they will not be exactly where they need to be at that point in time, particularly due to lockdown. But what we aspire for at Our Ladies is trying to narrow that vocabulary gap for your son or daughter. And part of narrowing that vocabulary gap is you helping them at home to read and understand the vocabulary that is in front of them. And just to give you context, what they suggest is that students, by the time they reach Key Stage 4, need to have 50,000 words acquired to be successful. So that's quite a few words. And as you can see, just that reading 20 minutes a day will absolutely help your son and daughter progress throughout their school career. The other aspect of teaching and learning we're very passionate about here at Our Ladies is the idea of building your child's schema. And basically that is their understanding and the connections that they make within each subject area. How do they build up their subject mastery, their subject knowledge, and how do they make connections between all those different subjects, between the content, the context, and again the vocabulary and the literacy they're learning. And as you can see here, this is just the outline of a brain with this idea of each of the little parts being connected to the other, so that the more interconnections that you have as a student, the more successful a learner you will be. And linking to that, those interconnections are made and formed and established through the use of retrieval and making sure that they're using both their working memory and their long-term memory. What we say to students in school is it's really important that you rehearse your work. And that just does not mean sitting down and trying to remember. It means whatever you remember, actually putting it into action in a piece of work, whether that be a question or a problem or an actual system of doing something within a subject. That will help students actually encode it into their long-term memory, which means obviously that is long-term learning. The more long-term learning students have, the better their working memory will cope in lessons and the better they will pick up more new material. And that is really vital for success. Often when students struggle and they say, I don't get this, I just can't do it, it's often because their working memory is overloaded. They call it cognitive overload. And that can often be caused by a number of reasons, such as literacy, which I've just discussed with you, or it can also be caused by the fact that they have not understood what's happened and therefore embedded in their long-term memory, or they haven't rehearsed it. And that rehearsal is really important. And linking into that rehearsal and ensuring that students are being more independent and self-regulating is this idea of students and your son or daughter ensuring when they come home from school that there is a period of quiet work there as well, We completely understand the school day is a long day, it's an intensive day. But on top of that, the homework that is set is incredibly important because it is that independent work that will help to build your child's schema that I talked about, but also will help them rehearse and put it in their long-term memory as well. So having somewhere quiet where they can do their work, somewhere where you can see them doing their work, and somewhere also where there's no distractions such as mobile phones, TV, etc. That will really, really help them become more self-regulating and in turn affect their learning in a positive way. And homework is usually one of those contentious issues because parents often struggle sometimes with certain parts of homework because of subject knowledge, which is perfectly understandable. I'm a historian. If you ask me to do maths homework, that will be a struggle for me as well. But the other problem as well is getting your son or daughter to sit down at an appropriate time and do it. But what I can let you know is that the completion of meaningful homework does link to academic success. What we try to do here at Our Ladies is we make sure that our homeworks are meaningful. So if homework is being set, it's being set to extend your child learning and embed that learning or to improve their literacy. So for example, we have a program called Bedrock that helps to deal with students' vocabulary gap, and they take a number of quizzes on their computer, and by doing that, that actually helps to expose them to more words and again narrow that vocabulary gap. So I firmly do believe that meaningful homework will help your son or daughter to be successful academically. And I always say to the students, it is the equivalent of an athlete. An athlete does not run their race or take part in their competition without actually practicing, rehearsing beforehand, putting the hard work in. And likewise, I suppose you would say they will run their race when they get to Key Stage 4, when they get to GCSE and they do their exams and they want to be successful there. Well, in order to get there, they need to make sure that they do that rehearsal and practice before that point in order for them to be successful. And I just put these images on because I really empathise. I've spoken to a number of parents throughout my years of teaching who really do struggle to get their son or daughter to sit down and do the homework. The best advice I can give is homework is best done sooner, that when they come in from school rather than later. The more of a delay that you give, the more tired the student gets, and then in turn, the less likely they are to concentrate. I would try and make sure that they are organised and they know what they are doing, they know where their books are, they have their planner out and Teams up to look at what it is that they are doing. And the biggest thing I believe is removing distractions. I think one of the biggest issues sometimes can be they've got a mobile phone in their hand, or there's a TV on in the background, or they try to do it with music on. There's a thing called a split attention effect, which happens when students try to learn. And if you try to split their attention, their actual ability to learn and retain is reduced. So things like trying to listen to the TV while you're working, trying to check your mobile phone while you're working, having really loud music on when you're working will be detrimental to the learning process. Homework, how long is often the question. We say about between 45 and 60 minutes for the homework. The homework will be in our planners, and our planners look like this. And the idea of being organised really, really will help your child succeed. So having their books in their bag the night before, which seems like a very simple step, but it really does help. Having their planner checked every day by you. And in addition to checking planners, we have a system called Teams. All homework will be posted on Teams. So when you open their planners, you will see they have history homework set. In order to see the detail of that history homework, they need to log on to Teams, and it will show under their assignment area, which is here. And you see here that there's an assignment called Cell Structure. Now, Teams is a really nifty app. It will tell you when it's due, it'll tell you what time it's due. And if you go onto your child's Teams as well, they'll have a password. They'll have a username and password, which is the same as their username and password for their email. So please ask them for that when they come home. And then you can log into their Teams and see that. But it will also tell you if they've turned it in. So you will be able to see if they've actually turned their homework in, which is good for checking what they've done and what they haven't done. Our staff as well will place the resources on there that go along with the homework, which will help So you will see what the description of the homework is and the resources that go along with it as well. Okay, and that's in our teams. We don't set homework on a specific night. We set it over 2 weeks because we feel that the best approach to teaching and learning is we set the homework at a meaningful time rather than setting the homework for the sake of setting the homework. So again, going back to that idea that homework needs to be meaningful in order to be important and to help with learning. And that is our regularity of homework. And then the last thing I just wanted to draw in on in regards to homework and preparation is just the equipment that they need for lessons. And these are all based on the different lessons that they will take. Obviously, things like a protractor and a compass will be needed for maths, including a scientific calculator, which is incredibly important for maths. Colours will be needed in a variety of subjects, but particularly, obviously, art. And then we need students to have black pens. In school, they only write with black pen. The reason for that is when they go into their exam, the exam board only accepts black pen. So the more, I stipulated 2 black pens there, but the more black pens that they have, the easier it is for them to start lesson without disruption. Likewise, we ask the students to correct their own work in green pen. So it's really important that they have some green pens there. But black pens and green pens are the most important as regards colours of pen. And then obviously having pencils, ruler, sharpener, and the basics is really, really important. We say that all students have to have their equipment in a pencil case. Having them blazer pockets often means they fall out, they get lost. So a pencil case is needed for all their equipment. And why do we do all this? Well, the obvious answer is we want your son or daughter to leave us with the opportunities to do whatever they want to do for the rest of their life. And I put some career paths on there, but we love to see our students coming back, being incredibly successful in whatever field that they go into. And we have had students from all of these fields that I have on the screen go on to do these particular occupations and come back to visit us, which is lovely. So how will you know that your child is doing well when they come to Our Ladies? Well, our books are marked regularly. You will see marking in books at least once a half term from every subject. And you will see marking in purple, so the teachers mark in purple. So if there's something you want a query and you're not sure about, please look in their books and you will see marking in purple. They will have exams at various points in the year, but the big exam will happen at the end of the year, so they have a summer exam. And again, that exam mark will be used for monitoring and it will be reported on. And again, going back to what I was talking about teaching and learning wise, this idea of rehearsal is really important because trying to cram it all in before the summer exam is not the best approach and doesn't lead to long-term learning. We have monitoring that goes home, and that monitoring will report to you on your child's attitude to learning. So basically behaviour in the classroom and also how they're approaching their learning in the classroom. If their homework is completed to a good standard and where they are in regards to learning and progress, where does that member of staff feel they are in their actual progress in that subject. Parents' evening, I would strongly encourage you to attend Parents' evening. It's a really good opportunity to talk to subject teachers if your child is struggling, but it's also a wonderful opportunity to hear how well your child is doing in different subjects. And teachers love to see parents coming so that they can, share how impressed and how well your children have done in various subjects, as well as also if there are issues there. Staff are really keen to be able to support you with those. So coming to Parents' Evening is incredibly important. And then this is sort of where I want to end. Our vision at Our Ladies for our students is not about getting perfection all the time. It's not about getting the most nines, the highest grades, the best in everything. While that will be wonderful for every student, and that is the ambition, obviously, for every student, it is not all about that. It is about the development of your child as an individual and their gifts and their talents that God has given them. And we believe very strongly that we are here to foster whatever gifts and talents your child have. and whatever their passion is. And that is part of our teaching and learning process, trying to imbue a love of the world, but a love of subject and a love of whatever makes them passionate in life. So that is it in regards to what I wanted to share with you about teaching and learning. If you have any questions at all in September, please do keep in touch. Our school email is on the website. And again, if you ring and leave a message and you give us at least 24 to 48 hours, we will get back to you. But please, if there's anything, do get in touch via the school email or through our receptionist. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you all in September.
Hello, my name is Juliet Duncan and I am one of the assistant head teachers at OLCC. My role is to look after curriculum and careers in school. So let's look at the curriculum at Our Ladies to start with. We run a 2-week timetable, so the weeks are called Week A and Week B. Students do get used to it very quickly, even though it sounds a bit complicated. To help, the students will have a timetable that they'll receive on the first day, and they stick this in their planner, so it acts as a constant reminder of where they need to be each lesson. They will do each lesson for 1 hour, and they will do 5 lessons a day. And they will study the following subjects in the list below. When students start in September in Year 7, first of all, they will be taught in form groups. We think this is very important. Students will be well looked after, they'll be nurtured, they'll make good friendships, and this will give them a good settled return to school. Students will have a form room that they go to every morning when they come into school, and from there, once the form teacher has set them up for the day, they will travel to other lessons. Obviously, they will go to specialist areas for their practical subjects. So they'll go to our computer rooms, our science rooms, our tech workshops, and our music area. In September, towards the end of September, they will do CAT tests and NGRT tests. Once we have done our baseline assessments towards the end of September, students will no longer do all their classes with their form groups, and they will be placed according to their ability, so that this allows children of a similar ability to be taught together. We use parallel setting for our Year 7s, so that means there are 4 sets in our S band and 4 in our A band of similar ability. So for example, if you are in 7S1, 7S1 set is of a similar ability to 7A1, and so forth. As always, a range of support is provided for students with learning or other difficulties. Your S band and your A band classes are named after our heroes of faith, Catherine of Siena and Francis of Assisi, but more commonly known as S band and A band by the students. Here's an example of a timetable. So you can see that the layout across the top gives you the first A week, followed by a B week. And down the left-hand side, you can see the number of periods, the 5 periods that we do each day. On the timetable, you can see the subject. So for example, Monday A1, this student has science. Their class is 7S3 science. The initials DT show the name of the teacher, and they will be based in 3S1, a science lab, for that lesson. Let me talk now about careers at Our Ladies. Ofsted ask that secondary schools prepare pupils for future success in education, employment or training. We do this by developing the careers provision, and we enable a range of education and training providers to speak to pupils. All pupils should receive unbiased information about their next steps and high quality careers guidance. The school should provide good quality, meaningful opportunities for pupils to encounter the world of work. We have a very good careers programme in place which runs from years 7 to 11 and also into the sixth form and does this for the students. So how does it work at Our Ladies? In years 7 to 9, careers is taught in personal development lessons. In 7 to 11, students also participate in drop-down days, and they do workshops, presentations, attend our careers fair, have interviews with our external partners. And we also have an annual Careers in the Curriculum Week. In sixth form, careers continues to be taught throughout PSHE. I hope this short presentation has given you some idea about curriculum and careers at Our Ladies, and we look forward to meeting the students and parents and carers next September.
Hello, I'm Miss Brogan and I'm here to just give you some key information about the upcoming year and to let you know a few of our rules that we need to make sure that we're adhering to. Some key staff in school are our head teacher Mrs Seddon, deputy head teacher Mr Coyle, and our assistant head teachers Miss Duncan, Mrs Porter and Mrs Loxham. From September, Mr McKiernan will be progress leader for year 7 and I'll be assisting him in his role until I go off on my maternity leave. And the main person, Mrs Baldwin, is probably the person that you will speak to the most during the day. She is our pastoral support officer. When we're looking at progress in year 7, you can track progress for your students, for your child, by looking in their exercise books, at the feedback from teachers, usually in purple pen. You can talk to them about how they're doing at school and don't just settle for the yeah, it's all right comments, go a little bit more in depth. You'll receive monitoring and you'll be able to come to a progress evening in October, parents' evenings just after Christmas. And then we'll be doing some exams in the summer term and we'll be reporting during our monitoring sessions to you. If there are any concerns about progress, we will be in contact with you beforehand anyway. A quick mention of homework. You should be spending, or your child should be spending approximately 60 minutes per day on homework. That's usually English, Math, Science once a week, other core subjects one over a fortnight, and art and computing you should have 2 homeworks over a half term. It depends on their timetable. Sometimes it'll be a little bit more than 60 minutes, depending on the lessons that they've had during that day, sometimes a little bit less, but just usually around about 60 minutes. And they should be writing the homework in the planner, but it will also be on Teams as well, with some extra help sheets from the staff and the teachers. Some top tips for homework: make sure that your child is doing their homework in a quiet place where it's well lit so that they have access to all of their equipment, pens, pencils, papers, dictionaries, so on. If you could help them out with their time management, try and encourage them to have a go at doing their homework as soon as they get in rather than leaving it to the last minute. Be positive about homework. When your child has had a go, you have a little look and tell them how proud you are of them doing it. Try to provide guidance and not the answers. If you provide the answers, we can't work out whether or not our students understand, whether we need to reteach something. And remember that the teachers are here to support you, so if there is a problem with homework or you're really struggling, please get in contact with us. But most importantly, stay informed and check planners. We do like to reward our students, and we believe that the progress pupils make over the year should be really celebrated. So we look at progress certificates, and it's based on their monitoring, and you will receive monitoring about 3 times a year. And there are 4 possible rewards: a bronze, silver, gold or platinum certificate. So when they do come home with those certificates, please congratulate them and big them up, because they've done a really good job to get one of those certificates. We award these certificates in reward assemblies, and we make it as special as we possibly can. We also have our Aspire Points rewards. You can earn points for all sorts of different things, so effort in learning, homework, subject mastery, Catholic life of the school, extracurricular activities, personal achievements, uniform, homework diary, being really prepared to learn, their attendance and their punctuality, and as well as if they get their progress certificates, they will get Aspire Points for that as well. We have the opportunity to reward our Aspire Points badges, and we also enter our students into prize draws at the end of every term, where they are entered into different draws depending on the number of points that they have achieved. And hopefully they'll come home with a badge that they will wear proudly on their blazer, so please make sure you make a fuss of that. Attendance. We can't teach your child if they are not in school, and that is what we are here for. If your child is too ill to attend school, please make sure that you contact school as quickly as you possibly can. We do send out a text message every morning to those who have missed, and we also make phone calls home to check that you know that your child isn't in school. We're looking for 97% attendance, and we do give rewards out for good attendance. If attendance becomes a concern, we will start to make regular contact with home, because we think it's extremely important that we have students in front of us so that they can learn. And the same with punctuality. If students aren't in school on time, they're not ready to learn. So school starts at 8:40, and before we go into lessons, we have our students in their form rooms, and it's a chance to be ready for the day ahead, to just settle ourselves with our prayers and collective worship, and make sure that we have our equipment and our uniforms correct, and it means that we arrive in a positive manner for our lessons at 9:05. So students need to be outside the front door before 8:40. Unless there are exceptional circumstances, we do not grant permission to go on holidays during term time. If you do need to do so, or you need to be away for a period of time, please make sure that you apply and you ask for permission, and there is a form that is available from Mrs. Baldwin, our PSO. Uniform. This is in your blue booklet that was sent home quite a number of months ago now. It's also on our school website. Please make sure that you go and try these on. And my top tip for uniform would be to buy big and make sure that you get names in absolutely anything that moves, so that we can get it back to whoever's lost it as soon as we possibly can. Everybody is going to be wearing it the same, and so if there is no name in it, it's hard to make sure that it's your child's and to return it to them. Something to note further down is jewellery, 1 watch and 1 pair of ear studs in the lower ear lobe. That is it. We don't allow anything else, and if your child arrives to school with anything else, they will be told to remove it. Make sure that they're not wearing makeup, and hair accessories need to be plain navy blue or black. Shoes. Make sure we've got a nice sensible pair of shoes. Students are going to be moving around school to different lessons, so we need to make sure that we are safe. There's some examples on there as well. Make sure we have no trainers and no sandals, and unless there is a medical issue, we do not allow boots at all. If your child comes to school with the incorrect footwear, we will be asking them to wear our school pumps. Again, with the hair, jewellery and makeup. No unnatural colours in hair, no V-cuts, no extreme hairstyles. You can wear hairbands or bobbles, but they have to be dark in colour. Make sure that there is no makeup or nail varnish. Jewellery, as commented on before, and remember that all jewellery must be removed for PE and for health and safety reasons. If we have a point where hairstyles or any of the things we've just mentioned becomes an issue, we will remove students out of circulation of school, so they won't be in their lessons. They will be somewhere else to do their work, because we don't allow them in the normal population of school. Just on the haircut side, this little one here, can you make sure that it is no shorter than a number 2, please, and that hair is blended in. Bags, so that we're moving around school sensibly and we're moving around school effectively and nobody's getting hurt. We have said that it is only a rucksack that is worn behind the child, not carried. So can you make sure that we have rucksacks only for school, because they need to be able to fit in books and folders, as students will be carrying all of their equipment from one place to another. We have 2 uniform suppliers, Uniform and Leisure Wear Company and Uniform Direct. Uniform Direct is an internet-based company, and you'll find the web address in the blue booklet. Uniform and Leisure Wear Company, you can go to their shops. There's definitely one on Common Garden Street and one in Morecambe, but they can also be ordered online from there as well. Pencil case and equipment, we need to make sure that we have all of the equipment here. It means that your child is ready to learn, that they're not going to be asking to borrow something and wasting time in their learning. And keeping in contact and working together. It's really important that we have your up-to-date information. So on the information that have been mailed home to you, so posted home and emailed, there's a link to a Microsoft form page which has quite a lot of questions about your where you live, your contact numbers, emergency contacts in addition to yourself, and permissions for things like photography and trips. It's really important that you have done that and filled it in. So school routines, start of the day for Year 7 is at 8:40 through our main entrance at the front of school. There'll be staff on the entry points, and form teachers will greet their forms in the morning, so there's no need to worry about where your child is going. Late pupils will need to come through the main entrance as well, and we'll sign in at reception with your appropriate appointment card or letter to make sure that we know where they've been. At break times, pupils have the opportunity to go outdoors, especially in the good weather, and indoors if it's wet break, and pupils are going to line up to be sent to the classes at the end of break time. Lunch times is about 40 minutes, and Year 7 lunch starts at 12:20. We have a new cashless system that we started last year, so hopefully that will run smoothly into the new year. You will receive your logins as soon as we get students on roll, and you should be getting that sort of during the holidays, a letter with your unique logins. If there are any problems, please make sure you contact school. We won't let anybody go hungry. And at the end of lunchtime, pupils will be sent to classes from a line to the right place. Just a quick mention of our Year 7 retreat. We're hopefully going out to Savio House in the winter term, and Rachel, the chaplain, will be in contact to let you know dates and when that is organised for. So if that's something you want to save up for, it's a really good trip, and it's an overnight, so it's really good fun for the students. And our gift team, that's Rachel in there in the middle. She's our chaplain, and she runs lots of different activities with our gift team, so everybody is welcome to go and join her when we get back in September. Our form teachers, you should have had contact with our form teachers and email. Please check your junk email boxes if that is not the case, and drop them a line. We've got Miss Stevenson, Mr Martin, Mrs Hallat, Mr Pennington, Mr Arms, Miss Beck, Miss Cliff and Miss Morley, and those are their email addresses. They are your first point of contact, so please, if you do have any issues, get in touch with them and let them know. It's better that we nip things in the bud in the morning when they see our students, so that they go on and have a really good day at school.
Hello everyone. This section of the meeting is about well-being, which is obviously important for all our young people, and at Our Ladies we have been working very hard on this over the last couple of years and have recently achieved an award, the Wellbeing Award for Schools, so you can be confident that this is one of the areas of the life of the child in school that is very important to us. Why it's important is that the emotional well-being of children is just as important as their physical health. We talk about their physical health in school and teach them about that, but we need them to develop a good mental health, which will help them develop their resilience so they can cope with whatever they have to deal with in life, and that they can grow up to a well-rounded, healthy adults. There are a number of different areas in school that the pupils can go to for support with this. We have a group of students set up called Wellbeing Ambassadors, and they are peers support for students in school. They know that if there's anything serious that they're being told, they would refer it on, but they are there to sort of help people have an ear, somebody to listen to them, and to give them some activities to do too. We have our chaplain, Rachel Cortez, who is wonderful and is always there to listen and to encourage our young people. Our pastoral support officer, Miss Baldwin, for Year 7, but each year group has a distinct PSO. They have their own PSO who is there to look after them and listen to them and refer them on to people whatever they need. Head of year for Year 7 is Miss Brogan, but they will have different year heads as they go through school. Miss Brogan is always there for our young people, and they do develop a really good relationship with her in that first year. And then finally, form tutors who are with them from Year 7 to 11. Unfortunately, because of COVID, they won't necessarily see their form tutors every day, but in the first week of school, they will be with their form tutors for 2 hours every day, so they get to develop that relationship with their form tutor, which will carry on throughout their school life. If they need extra support, there are a number of different avenues that we can go down. Of course, young people have days when they feel bad and not so good, and it's very up and down, but we're talking here about students who maybe develop more of a problem and need more help. So those that need extra support might be referred to learning support, and the support that we give up there can be through ARC or nurture lessons. We have Ready to Learn. We have a safe base at lunch and break time for students who don't feel comfortable outside in larger groups. And we have lots of other interventions to help your child cope in school. We are very fortunate to have a school counsellor, Mrs. Truman, who students can see following arranged appointments by the PSO. So if we feel that that's a suitable thing to happen, then we will refer them, and Mrs. Truman may see them for just one session, or it might be a series of sessions. And then we have a school nurse, Mrs. Ashbridge, who can assess a young person, talk to them, and then can further refer them to a mental health nurse or doctor. We've mentioned the Wellbeing Ambassadors already. They were trained by Lancashire Mind staff, which is really good. We know that this is a project that Lancashire Mind have launched across the county in a number of different schools, and we know this is a really good project that does help young people. At home, there are things that you can do as well. I said earlier in the introduction that it is important that you show a real interest in what's going on. They might tell you that they're not bothered, they don't want to mention it, or they did nothing at school, but it's important to try and keep that talk and that time that you spend with your child, even if they might look as if they're resisting it, they do need that time with you. But also things that we mentioned here, limited screen time, getting the right amount of sleep is really important. They shouldn't have any mobile phones or anything like that in their bedrooms, and they should have had that turned off at least half an hour before they go to bed so that they get a good night's sleep. They also need up to 9 hours of sleep at this age, and it is important that they get that. They have been in a very strange situation during COVID, and probably their body clocks have changed and they haven't been in a routine, so it's really important to try and start that as soon as we get back to school and keep that going. Physical activity is really important. Getting some exercise releases endorphins in the brain, which then makes people feel better. Family walks are something that's lovely that can happen, and again, I hope that over the lockdown that you've had opportunities to do that and find areas around where you live that you can go for a walk. Just being outside often makes us feel better. Give yourself time to enjoy moments together with your child. As we said, they're growing up, they might be becoming teenagers, moods and all those things that you may worry about, but they still want that attention. They are still young people, children, and they do need that support. Listen to and talk openly about mental health and what thoughts they may be having. It's important to talk openly and for them to understand that everybody has mental health, and it is a spectrum. It's not just a matter of being really well and not having any concerns or being clinically depressed. There is a big spectrum in between, and it's important that they talk so that if they should start to becoming anxious, we can try and support that and help them out at the start. And help your child to challenge negative thinking with positivity, always looking on the bright side of things, always taking the positive things out of life in everything that they do. This will make them feel better overall. Again, reaching secondary school and body image and all sorts of other things that they worry about. So it's about trying to find the positives and appreciate what they have, and that will hopefully help them feel better about themselves. Lancashire Mind we have been working with, we are going to continue to work with them this year, whether that's virtually or whether they are able to come into school. So we will be having workshops and assemblies for students so they have the opportunity to think about these things, but also the staff are trained too, so that we are aware of what we would be looking out for and the signs that we would be looking for. So we hope that your child has a really good mental health throughout their time at secondary school. I don't want to worry everybody and make you think that this is going to be a massive issue, but it's better to talk about it now before it might be happening, so that you are aware of it and that we try all that we can do to make sure they stay with a positive mindset and that their mental health is strong and good. Thank you.